Seth
Yeah, we
off.
live
Yeah.
too, fellas.
So
We live too, fellas.
Do you think that was real or was that a work?
it was a work. And I think he'll last over a year. But yeah, I think it's definitely it actually was a work. I remember reading about it. Um, how Seth Rollins flipped him off after the show or whatever. Michael Cole was holding him back with one arm. I believe if he really wanted to go after CM Punk, that Michael Cole was not going to be, Michael Cole's arm is not going to hold back Seth Rollins. Like, come on. So it was definitely a work. Um, they are definitely going to use that as a storyline, and um, they're going to have some kind of match down the road. Um, Probably be the Royal Rumble, or maybe they'll hold off and have it at WrestleMania. Um, but this had been brewing since before Punk came back because I know Seth Rollins did an interview months ago, and he was randomly asked about him. I think the first time CM Punk had got into an altercation or something happened while he was with AEW, and Seth Rollins, just happened to be asked about it, or just random question about CM Punk, and Seth Rollins went off, kind of, went off on him and said all kinds of things about him, him being a cancer to the company and that he hopes he never comes back to WWE and he stays away forever and all these different things because of, how the things happened almost 10 years ago when he originally left the company. And then, just over the years, especially going back to AEW, he was still taking, subtle shots at WWE in his promos and his interviews and stuff like that. So obviously, excuse me, the guys there in the company in WWE, the top guys, they didn't take too kindly to that because they felt like this man had, he had said what he needed to say about the company back in 2014 when he left, and everything came out on that podcast that he went on. Um, but the fact that he was still trashing the company, every chance he got after that, it was like, all right, come on, like, enough's enough. We get it. Like, this is where we're at. This is our workplace. Like, why are you talking down on a place that we love and, a place that we've helped build and shape and mold since you've been gone? And, it seems like every time you got a mic in your hand, you got something to say about us. So I
Can I add
get it,
another?
their standpoint from, them being, upset at that. But I think for them to bring him back into the fold, obviously the top superstars. I'm not saying that they had to tell management that they gave them the okay because what it looked like, your employees telling you who to hire. But I'm willing to bet that, and this isn't confirmed or anything, but I'm willing to bet that they sat down with Seth and Roman and other guys who had issues with CM Punk, um, and kind of talked to them about where they were at, what they were doing, why they were doing it, and their plans going forward. And I think it's going to be. I'm excited because a lot has happened in the time that he's been gone. A lot of things have changed. Some of the same people are still there that were there when he first left, and that they were. You think about Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, where they were before Punk departed. They were all together in the Shield in their group. They weren't even single superstars yet, and now look at them. Both of them are world champions. They got a long, long, decorated list of accomplishments over the last 10 years, and like they're basically running the company now. So like, this is going to make for good TV. I'm pretty sure they're going to use, all the stuff he said about the company, him being in AEW. They're going to take shots at each other in the ring. Like, I could, like the face to face, battles on a microphone. I'm looking forward to those. Him versus Seth in the ring together. Going back and forth. Like, I'm just, because that's what CM Punk is famous for. Being on that microphone and saying, things that are very controversial. That's his claim to fame. Like, people love that about him. Like, he goes out there, he speaks his mind. He doesn't care who's in charge or what they have to say, what they think about him. Like, he's not afraid to be that guy. And with everything that's happened, I think he's matured. I think he's kind of in a different space than where he was 10 years ago. Um, the picture with him and Triple H. Did you see that picture of them two
Was
together?
Triple H like
And they
it's some
posed.
freezing hell or something like that?
Yeah, hell froze over. Yeah.
Hmm.
So like just that right there shows you alone where he's at now versus how he felt about him 10 years ago. I mean, he hated the guy. But to see them guys in the picture together and like, arm in arm, like, hey, we made this signing, it's all water under the bridge now. Like, I'm just looking forward, like it's a bunch of guys that he has to, I'm just imagining him, going up against Seth Rollins in the promos and the microphone battles and with Roman Reigns, and with some of the guys, some of the newer guys who are, who weren't there when he was there, that he can have matches with and help elevate. Like it's so much different now, and the material's gonna be like crazy good. Like I'm ready. Like Royal Rumble's coming up in a couple months. WrestleMania season. Like it's about it's like this couldn't have happened at a more perfect time. Like this was. I'm excited as a wrestling fan. I'm
All right, all right,
completely
all right.
excited.
Can I add to your perspective on that? Do you think it has anything to do with the Endeavor deal with UFC and WWE coming together, and Dana White and CM Punk having some a good relationship from CM Punk being in the UFC, and he used that relationship to kind of maybe make everything happen that you just said? Do you think that maybe was the door that opened for him to come back?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because Vince McMahon is not in charge.
Right.
And from what I read, Vince was not a part of this decision and bringing him back at all. I think this was a Triple H and a Tony Khan move. And we saw them bring back a lot of guys who had gotten fired or let go in the
Right.
past when Vince was in charge. And once Vince stepped down after that whole thing came out, the allegations and whatnot, he stepped down. Triple H took over and he hired back a lot of those people that Vince let go. So, when CM Punk was over in AEW, kind of going through what he was going through, and WWE had the merger with, UFC, and like I said, Vince wasn't in charge, and you see who was coming back that Vince had let go. Um, there was talks, when CM Punk was, going through drama over there that, if AEW does get rid of him, like, WWE may, now with new leadership, this merger with UFC, he's got a relationship with those guys over there because he competed there. Like it could happen. So that really, I think it cracked the door open for him. I wasn't all the way sold like, hey, this is going to happen if he does somehow become a free agent, like he's going back to WWE. Like I never thought that uh, would be the case, but I did think that hey, if something were to happen, they'll entertain it at least. But before they had the door completely closed on it. But I
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
Yeah.
they'll at least entertain it. But I definitely believe that the UFC thing played a factor. The guys who are in charge now, they obviously they have more influence in who they want, being that they are in charge. And because I think if it was up to Vince McMahon, if Vince McMahon was still around, I don't think the CM Punk thing happens. I don't think they bring him back unless they like convinced him or drugged him or something crazy. But yeah, I think because Vince wasn't involved in this decision at all, and he doesn't have any control and with creative and all that, that's the reason that really made it possible. I strongly believe that if he was still there, that it probably would not have happened.
Mm. Well, Brandon, I don't know if you know, but when Trey was talking about he was gonna slap the shit out of me, that's why I kind of spoiled the.
You hit the Twitter sphere early.
I waited
Yeah.
10 years for this return,
Twitter
Brandon.
fingers. Twitter
I
fingers.
waited 10 years. I had disconnected all my apps like Twitter, ESPN, everything. I didn't want no notifications to pop up accidentally on my phone. I was like, look, I watched like the first 30 minutes of Survivor Series. I was like, all right, I got to shut this off because I got an early, wake up in the morning. Got to get on the road, make the trip back to Virginia. And when I get home, I'm gonna get comfortable, get everything planned out. I knew what time I was gonna watch, and I was gonna sit there and watch, and I was gonna see if this return was really gonna happen. Um, and then I was driving home, having to check my messages or whatever because my wife was texting me, just asking about my location and whatnot, and I had stopped, and I, was at the gassing up, checked my messages, and I see anything about CM Punk, and I'm just like, great.
Yeah,
Shot
my
all
fault.
my
I
plans to hell.
figured, you being a wrestling connoisseur, you saw it, and like
Oh
I said,
yeah,
when I
yeah. I
saw it, I said,
mean,
"Yo, they losing their fucking minds in that arena."
yeah, they did. I mean, it was a very loud ovation. And yes, being that it was in his hometown, it probably, was a little bit extra loud. But I don't think it mattered, if he could have been in any city in the states, and it still probably would have been crazy because, like I said, it's been 10 years, and I
Yeah.
told you 10 years ago that he would be back. Like right after he left, several months after he left, he had did some interviews, and the way he was saying some things and how he was acting, I was like, he'll be back. I didn't know when, but I knew eventually he'd come back.
Mm. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch. Tune in for like the first 10 minutes of Raw. Come on at 9.
Those are already on.
Oh
You
shit.
about an hour late, buddy.
He
Well, it used
moved
to
like,
come
oh
on at
shit.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, well, it's
Come on,
eight
man. You
eight
know
to
we got
11
YouTube
now.
TV. You got
Yeah,
YouTube
eight
Oh
TV,
eight
man.
shit.
Set a
yeah
notification.
8 to 11. Most nights I don't make it through because it's so long.
That's why they moved it
But
up to 8 because they know we can't. 9 o'clock, you ain't got us.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
like the 2 hour window. I feel like that's just the right amount of time. A third hour just feels like it just drags out. Now, a lot of it felt dragged out because they weren't really coming up with a bunch of creative stuff to keep you interested. But now that Punk is back, I feel like I'll be more invested in a 3 hour show. Um, but he probably not gonna come out to the end though, because you know how they like to hold all the stuff that you want to see until the last part of the show. So
Well, yeah,
I
that's how they
probably
keep you watching it.
yeah, I
That's how they
probably
show you all the ads, baby.
tune in. It is great. Great marketing. That's it's smart because when AEW hired him, they bought him out first thing. So
You know.
I I've never watched an episode of AEW. I mean, maybe like one full episode of AEW up until his return. Excuse me. And when he came back, I made sure to tune in. I was like, all right, probably
It's
somebody in
like
the
how they
game,
used to do with Undertaker.
but
They
I
used to
watched the
tease
whole
him.
show. Yep.
Mm.
They used to tease
But
him for like episodes.
as soon as the show came on, they hit his music. He came out the ring. I was like, damn, I ain't have to wait around no time. This is great.
Well,
But as soon as he went
damn,
off, guess what I did?
You change the
turned
Changed the
it up.
channel.
channel. Yep. So maybe that's one thing WWE has over AEW. Just little stuff like that, man. So
Yeah. Well, yeah,
um,
they got experience.
yeah, that experience and all that stuff will do that for you. So
Mm-hmm. And Beret was cracking.
What's up? How y'all doing? Man, how y'all doing? Welcome everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in to Strictly Sports. I'm Be Wise.
Trigga in the building, man. It feels like we've been forever since we've done one of these episodes, man. It's been forever.
Man, we
I'm
we we
excited to be
in.
back tonight.
Oh, my fault. I'm just playing with my beard.
You got me doing it, bro. It's like a yawn. You got me
Yeah.
like a yawn. It's like a yawn, bro.
Hey, Amber Ray,
Mm-hmm.
how you doing? Our number one fan is in the house with us. Appreciate your support.
So, fella,
All right, Big Wise. I mean, you want the floor. I know you got a lot of restructure to
no,
do with your
no,
Carolina Panthers.
you told me don't pop that thing open early. Make them wait for it. You just told me make them wait for it. You
Man,
can't
nobody
pop
about
that
to sit
thing.
around for 2 hours and wait on your little
Hey, you can't
dream
make
plan of what you want to do
you
with the
can't you
Panthers.
can't make them wait for it. You can't make
Oh
them
my
wait for it. You
goodness.
gotta make them wait for it. So let's talk about how's the okay. You want to start in NFL? You want to start with NCAA? What we starting
Let's
at?
start with the NFL because I'm pissed.
Oh, here we go.
Not at the Cowboys. Not at the Cowboys. But I'm
Well, not
pissed.
yet. It's
Here's
coming.
the biggest thing I'm pissed. Here's the big yeah, you're right, it's coming. Probably gonna be playoff time. Um Anywho, Amber, I'm sorry, you gotta wait. He making wait to
You
the end
gotta
of the
wait. You
show
gotta wait.
to
You
talk
gotta
about
wait.
his plan with the Carolina
Hey,
Panthers. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be
hey, we
great.
got notes. Hey, we got notes, baby. We got notes. We got scouting
Oh my
reports. We
goodness.
got notes. We got salaries. Like we got
Anywho,
notes.
I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because I just saw a interesting statistic on Thanksgiving Day, and it really bothered me, and I couldn't wait to get here tonight to discuss
How the
this. So
Cowboys are the worst game on
we
Thanksgiving Day
talk
every
about
year.
the Dallas Cowboys. It was the third most watched game in NFL history. History, not this season, not in the last 10 years, in history. I don't know how, I don't know why, but we played Washington on Thanksgiving. It was the
Because
third
football
most
popular because
watched game.
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. That's a Taylor Swift effect.
Oh, okay. Y'all really
You
want to stay
welcome.
around
You
till,
welcome.
10 o'clock to hear this man's playing. Okay. Anywho, so I saw this stat, right? So everyone's giving the Dallas Cowboys grief, right? All of our wins have come against teams under 500. Our losses have come against teams who were, well, two of the three losses have come against teams who were over 500. Granted, that's right. Talk about it all you want. I agree. They can't beat anybody when it matters. But we're about to find out what they made of because we got 5 games coming up: Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. We're gonna
In
see what they
Washington.
do. Well, we ain't gonna count Washington, but we're
No.
gonna see what they do.
You should have counted Carolina because we was on that
Now,
ass.
Here's the other thing, and no one's talking about this. The Miami Dolphins are what, 8-3? All eight of their
Number two
wins,
seed, number two seed in the
all
AFC.
8 of their wins have come against teams under 500. The 3 losses have come against teams who are over 500. Why is nobody talking about that?
They are. They
But they
do. They
are
said the
talking about
Miami.
that, Trigger.
They
No,
said
I ain't
Miami
heard
ain't gonna make
nobody
it to the
talking about
playoffs.
that.
They
Yeah,
talking.
but
They said
Trigger
I
Miami
talked
ain't heard
about
South
nobody
that.
Ball ain't
talking
gonna make
about.
it in the
I
playoffs.
don't hear nobody talk about Miami's schedule and how they've had an easy time
They
beating all these
do.
no names and then losing to the games that matter.
But you got to realize they took the Chiefs to. They almost beat the Chiefs if it weren't for a Tua Josh Allen throw the other day.
But no,
They
no,
would have beat
they
the
no,
Chiefs.
they
You see,
may
yeah,
not
we
be talking
almost
about.
beat the Eagles too, but did we get that same response?
We are the
I
Cowboys.
mean, no, they haven't talked about it about as much as the Cowboys schedule, but no, they brought it up, and you get and on top of that, they put 70 on Denver, and you see how Denver's
Yeah,
playing. So technically, you can't say every team they beat is
yeah,
under 500.
yeah. Trigger.
Okay. And we put
But
up
no, they
40.
talked about it. But
We've
no,
had more
I
40
got you
point
though.
games than anybody in the NFL this year.
But Miami got a tough road ahead of them too. So
That's Dallas. That's what y'all always do. Like, don't nobody care about that from y'all. Don't nobody care about that from y'all. Show us in the playoffs. That's the question for Dallas.
I know. I wish the playoffs was there
That's the
already.
question.
I'm
Hey,
sick of seeing this. I'm
y'all
sick of
kill
them
it.
being.
Y'all
I'm
kill
sick
it
of them
every
being
season.
dominant against these rinky-dink teams like the Panthers, and then don't do it against the
Oh, he
49ers and the
hating.
Eagles in the
He
playoffs.
hating. At least when we beat y'all on Thanksgiving, we go to the Super Bowl. But see,
Brandon,
look.
that was 10 years ago, bro.
So what? CM Punk was too.
I was
Here
working
we
at
are.
Sam's Club.
Here we are.
Well, guess what? CM Punk is back. You know who's not coming back? Cam Newton.
Hey, we
Mm,
coming. Hey, we don't need Cam
Luke
Newton. Bryce Young,
Kuechly,
baby. Hey, Luke Kick. Hey, that's part of my plan.
Josh
That's
Norman.
hey. Don't he going into my plan too much?
What's his name? Ryan Khalil. Who was the
Steve
center name?
Smith.
Right?
Y'all going too far back, man. Y'all going way too
Who
hard.
was
It
the other
won't
running
even.
back?
Jonathan Stewart was the running back that
Jonathan
year.
Stewart. He ain't coming back.
We
Riverboat
won't need him to come
Ron.
on. Hey, Greg Olson coming back.
He might come back. He gonna be out
Greg
of a
Olson coming
job
back.
this summer.
Greg Olson coming back. Head coach. Greg
Yeah,
Olson.
he ain't coming out the booth. But yeah, well,
I'll send you the article.
Riverboat Bond might
I
be
can send you
back.
the article
He might
if
be
you want
back
it.
in Carolina. Just they
No,
all about
we getting Jim Harbaugh.
they
We getting
all
Jim
about
Harbaugh.
second chances. They gave Cam Newton a second chance. Here come Riverboat back.
We
Mm-hmm.
getting
He gonna
Jim. We're
be.
getting Jim Harbaugh.
You know, go ahead and call it right now. He ain't gonna be Washington next season. They already fired the
Harbaugh.
defensive coordinator and the defensive backs coach after their game against Dallas.
Mm. Well,
Got
since
firing coaches on a Friday, boy. Great day.
speaking of Jim Harbaugh, who
Oh,
y'all gonna have in y'all's? I know we got 1 week left. Who you got in your top four?
like, you can't go from. I mean, Marge, you can't go from NCAA, NFL, college. You skipping.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, you want to talk about the Panthers? My
No, you
bad.
fine. No, you fine. No, go ahead. Go ahead. That's a tough one. They was talking about it. The winner of Georgia, Alabama, definitely. Uh, Michigan,
If Alabama wins, you think Georgia will be out?
no. But if Georgia wins, I don't think Alabama makes it.
But they're
And I
not
think
gonna
that's
make it.
how
They're
they. I
not a
think that's how they
two-loss team.
justify Oregon getting in.
Yep.
Um,
They're not gonna put a two-loss team in there.
I
yeah,
think the winner of the Oregon Washington game will get in.
yeah. Well, it depends because if it's Oregon, I mean, if it's Washington, do you put Washington in over an undefeated Florida State team or a one-loss Florida State team?
Well, if Florida State loses, they're out. I think, unfortunately, I think the only way Florida State will stay in if they blow Louisville out. They really got to dominate.
But they undefeated, right?
Yeah, we undefeated, but
How can you really justify taking the undefeated ACC champion out?
well, I mean, I'm a Florida State fan, so biasly no, but I'm thinking as a voter because they said the ACC, this ACC's schedule is weak, even though they have a winning record against the SEC. But then their starting quarterback got hurt, so that I think that's gonna play a big factor in it. I don't
Who
know.
has who has Oregon beat?
Maybe USC.
Can't count USC. USC is not a good win.
Okay. Well, if they beat Oregon, it'll be Oregon.
Oh, you talking about Washington? I was talking about Oregon.
Oh shoot. I mean, if they beat Washington, it'd be Washington. Yeah.
But is that
Um,
That's a
But
one
didn't
loss
they beat
Washington.
Arizona? Because the Pac-12 was kind of
That's not a good.
packed this year.
The Pac-12 was good at first, and then they started falling off towards the end.
Okay, I gotta
But
relook at their schedule. But I mean, of course, I think Florida State should get in.
but
But
look how Washington played Washington State. I mean,
yeah, well, everybody struggled that last week. I mean, Georgia, Georgia won by one score game.
Yeah,
how
we
you
got
feel
a
about that?
couple.
How you feel about that trip? Well, that's Georgia though.
Well,
Y'all
yeah,
get they get the
we
back
didn't,
to back
yeah,
bias.
we were missing a bunch of guys too. I think that played a role.
Yeah.
But like I said, a win's a win. I mean, they made it closer than I would have liked. They also kept me up a little bit longer than I would have liked because again, I was trying to go to bed early. It's like they knew that, so they tried to make the game interesting. So just blow these jokers out in the first half so I can go to sleep. But
Mm.
of course, I had to stay up and make sure that they were going to win the game before I went to bed.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I lost about a couple hours of sleep behind that. Um, but it is what it is. Can we talk about how Auburn gave away that game to Alabama?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Hey, you talking about why don't you rush a quarterback on a fourth and goal for the 31, and you just sitting there and not bringing any pressure and letting him throw a bomb to the end zone?
Man, but no, that's an anomaly. How
The
often is
muffed
that gonna
punt,
happen?
the muffed punt. They got even after that, Auburn still had a chance to close the deal because they had the sack all the way back. You know, they lost what like 15 yards, and it was third and 20. Third and 20. Then this man run for 19 yards on third down. And of course, they go for it on fourth down and they get it. Then the bad snap sends them back to where they were pretty much earlier, which set up the fourth and 31. They're like, all right, no chance. Fourth and goal from the 31-yard line that they score a touchdown and win this game. No way.
Yeah.
Does that
So here's
so?
my reason why you don't rush him. If that was Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, someone who's a statue, yeah. But someone as mobile as him, because man, if he breaks the contain, you only got what 4 or 5 people back there.
Just like, like I said, on that third and
I don't
20
care
play,
about a break in the contain.
he
They gonna
rushed him
catch you
and he damn
with
near
30 some
picked up
seconds
20
left.
yards.
I'd rather tackle you with 30 some seconds
No,
left
no,
than
no.
sit
I'm
here and let you
saying
But
pick me
see,
if
apart.
he breaks
I,
contain and he got a free shot to throw the ball, you only got 4 or 5 people back there with 4 or 5 receivers.
yeah,
Something
Break
that
I get
contain.
secondary,
what
I
you're
don't know
saying.
what happened. It was
No, I'm
miscommunication.
talking
You
about
got
the
8
people
back.
that's coming to get
Yeah,
pressure.
they
You gotta get
rushed two
pressure.
guys, so I'm like,
They gotta
where's
get some
everybody
pressure
else
or do
at?
something.
Yeah, you
Why was
got
only
9
one
guys.
guy?
You got
Why was there only one guy over there on that receiver?
yeah,
I didn't see like I was trying to see like two or three bodies over there. It was like one guy over there in that corner near that receiver.
yeah. It
You
was a
rushing
It
two,
was a
where everybody
breakdown in
at?
coverage.
Yeah, I mean, man,
Ain't
that was a
even
breakdown
there's
defense. That's a
no
breakdown
there's no
defense.
coverage. There's
That's a
no
breakdown
play to
defense.
run. There's no coverage. There's no play to run. You rushing two guys. Everybody else they got to go to the end zone. They got to go to the end zone. They cannot go anywhere but to the goal line. What is y'all playing? Like, you okay? You got two, three or four guys trying to go. Well, where's everybody else back in the end zone for? They got to throw
Hmm.
it to the end zone. Like, protect the end zone. All the receivers are in the end zone. What are we doing?
All right. So trigger. Let me. So does that make you worried as a Georgia fan what you saw from Alabama, or
It does worry me because
you got pretty
the
much
way
you
we
got an
played,
Alabama quarterback?
the way we played against Georgia Tech, you know, especially after the way we played against, the three games prior against Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Like we were, well, except for maybe the Missouri game, but against Tennessee and against Ole Miss, we were dominant. And these teams are all ranked inside, the top 15 and higher. A couple of them, I think, were even in the top 10 at the time. But we beat them and we sent them in and we beat them pretty good, like no question. Right? It was not really close. No, we dominated Ole Miss. We beat them like 52 to like 17, something like that. Dominated them. And then Tennessee, we knocked them off pretty easily. So for them to have those types of games against, SEC opponents, one of the toughest conferences in football, whether the team's ranked or not, and then to come out against Georgia Tech and play them the way we did. And granted, I know we were missing some guys, some big time players at that, might I add. But to play against that team like the way we did to make that game as close as we did, it does worry me, especially watching Alabama and how dominant they've been since they lost that one game to Texas early in the season. Now Alabama should have lost to Auburn. The fact they pulled that out was very Philadelphia Eagles ish. How they won that game, and I'm just like, okay, well, that's
Understood.
how they won against that. Because we also struggled against that same Auburn team. We beat them by, I think, one score. It was like 28-20, 27-20, something like that. So we struggled shutting down their run. Alabama struggles shutting down their run. All they do is run. I don't understand. These guys just run the ball. They don't throw it. They are last
Cadillac
in
Williams,
the
baby.
SEC. They are last in the SEC in passing yards per game. So all they do is run. So you think a coach Nick Saban figured that out and slow that down? So they ran all over them in the first half. They got a little lead. Well, okay, second half they're gonna make adjustments. Stop. Not really. They kept running the ball on them, and they were up late, 24-20. And I was like, okay, well that's not going to sustain. But then they ended up getting a stop on Alabama late. Got the ball back, and of course they punted the ball to him. And what happened? The guy muffs it deep in his own territory, and Alabama takes over. And then all that other stuff happened, and it ended up, winning the game on fourth and goal from the 31-yard line. So yeah, Alabama winning that game like that against that Auburn team, unranked Auburn team, it gave me a little bit of hope. However, again, the way Georgia had looked, against Georgia Tech, like, come on, Georgia Tech,
Hey,
you
y'all
know,
fault did. Y'all got an Alabama quarterback that can run, not like Bryce run, not like Mike
yeah,
Jones run, not like Tua. Y'all got a Lamar Jackson at Alabama right now.
yeah, and Milrow, he does a lot of running. I mean, he takes no, he don't have no hesitation when it comes to running that ball. Like I watched that game against Auburn pretty much in its entirety, and literally anytime a receiver that he was looking for won't open, he won't stand there going through his progressions and trying to find the next dude. Like this dude do not go through any kind of like nothing. First off, stay there, gone. Take it off.
That's that
That's all
Cam
he
Newton
does.
offense, bro. That's what
This
we need for
man
Bryce.
had
If you don't see it, go.
this man had 100 rushing yards against Auburn. Over 100 rushing yards against Auburn.
Mm.
So he's gonna run the ball. Georgia knows he's gonna run the ball. Everybody knows he's gonna run the ball. That's all he does is run the ball. Earlier in the season when he got benched, that's what he was doing before he got benched. He was running the ball.
Mm.
And wasn't really hitting nobody with the throws down the
How
field or
you
anything
said
like
give
that.
me the Heisman and
Turning
you
the
got
ball
benched?
over.
You can't win a Heisman if you got benched in the season, brother.
But since he came back in the starting lineup, he's been playing well. I mean, well, they at least been winning. I haven't
Mm.
seen I haven't seen every game they played since he's been back in the lineup, but they've been winning. I do know that. So and
Gonna
the
be a
way he
tough
looked against
test.
Auburn, he looked a lot better in the game against Auburn because that's the only game I watched. I watched him play against Texas, um, and he didn't look very good in that game to me. But against
But they
Auburn,
almost won that one still, didn't they? That
oh
one
yeah,
was close,
yeah,
one.
that one was also close. Yeah, yeah, they
But
they
that's their
barely
loss. That's why I
barely
say,
won that one too.
Miles,
Well,
that
they
loss
lost.
is
I mean.
Texas. That's a good loss. Cause
Yeah.
if your losses are Georgia and Texas, like they say, they want to put the good teams in, not the ones that deserve it. I want to put the teams that's going. I don't want it to be another 70-24 game. Like
Why
I
not?
just because you earned it with an undefeated record, I got to put the best teams in, and I think that's well. They're gonna do about the records, but I think it should be the best team. So you don't have that. It ain't no why not trick. That's what you're gonna have if you put a Florida State in backup against Georgia, because Florida State barely been beating some of these teams.
Yep. I mean, Georgia, like I said, they've had three or four on their schedule. They barely squeaked by two. But I think those last three games they played prior to Georgia Tech is what convinced the
What y'all
committee.
got?
Okay, these dudes are legit because we played a pretty easy schedule up until that point. And then we had three games in a row, all SEC opponents, all ranked teams. And those guys had good records. A couple of one-loss teams. I think Tennessee was 7-3 when we went into that matchup. So I mean, they dominated. They dominated over those three games, and that's no question. Hey, this is number one team right here, and rightfully so. I think those three wins were better than anybody else's victories in big games over the season. We're talking about all the potential playoff teams: Ohio State, Michigan. Well, Michigan beating Ohio State was huge. Um,
You think they
but
You think Ryan Day fired? Y'all think they gonna let him go because he can't beat Michigan?
No, I don't think they're gonna let him go, but
Well, you
Why?
know,
Over one
up
loss?
there, it's three. It's three in a row.
no, he
But
lost to Mich. He's never beat Michigan before.
that's a big for them up there. That's
I
like you get
know,
fired for stuff up there.
but you remember at one point John Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still winning, but I
Then he had to
understand.
steal
But
some signs, allegedly, allegedly,
yeah,
allegedly,
but you
allegedly.
can't fire me personally. I mean, he took y'all to the college playoffs. They almost beat Georgia. Like you can't fire him because he's struggling against Michigan. Ain't like Michigan's chopped
But
liver.
didn't they get blown out by T? Oh, they beat TCU beat them though.
No, no, no. We talking about Ohio State?
No, TCU. No, I'm talking about Michigan. No, I'm talking about
Oh yeah,
Michigan. You
yeah.
right. You right. You right. Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't think he gets fired. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of heat if he lose next year, but
I mean, but next year,
he's still winning 11, 12 games a year. You can't fire someone because of that.
but you lose Travion, you lose Cade Stover, you lose Amika Abuka, you lose Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I understand it's Ohio State, but
Yeah, I'm about to say
you
they'll
losing
be
a lot
low.
of experience.
And shout out to Travion Henderson, man. Hopewell, Virginia.
Yes, sir. He coming to Carolina next year. I drafted him in my mock draft today.
God, please don't.
We need him. I got mock drafts too, Trigger. I'll send
He
them to you.
might stay another year in school. I talked to some of the football like games I officiated.
Yeah.
I talked to some of the former players. They say he's like heavily in his books. Like
Go
Really?
ahead, bro. Get that
yeah, they
money.
said
You get that
he
NIL.
graduated. He graduated with a he graduated a year early. He had like a 4.0. Like they said, all he was about was school and football. I mean, the kids said they used to cheat off him in class.
He been hurt too,
So,
so it would be
so
a thing for him to stay and prove it.
yeah. So I mean, but I mean, he's already got an NIL deal. He's doing
Yeah,
something with cars or something. So, I mean, he's making millions right already.
yeah, he making money. What y'all
So
think about Prime Deion Sanders in Colorado? I saw the well off media. Shout out to Bucky, but I saw it and it looked like they got cheated in the Utah game a little bit. Well, I don't know.
I didn't see it, but I mean, this is what
That's
I
a you a
thought.
referee. A referee wouldn't see
This is well. I mean, that's the record I thought they was gonna do. Yeah, they had a lot of skill position, but they need more beef up front, offensively and
Yeah, 100%.
defensively. Shador got killed this
He fractured his back. That's why he
year.
ain't playing. He got a fracture in his back. His lower back.
Now, we'll say could be. And then I don't. People don't remember this. He struggled his first year at Jackson State.
Mhm.
He was like 5-7.
No, I don't think he. No, he didn't lose to Jackson. This the most he'd only lost 7 games, I think, in his whole.
I thought he struggled his first year at Jackson State.
I don't think he. I think he only played 1 year at Jackson State. It was his freshman year. That was he was a freshman, and then he came to Colorado. I think.
No, he did 3 years at Jackson State.
No, he didn't do 3.
Look it
Did
up
he
for
do
me.
one? He made it 2. Cause did he do one without Travis?
I'm gonna look it up. Hold on.
We gotta look that up. Hold on, hold on. If we can get somebody watching, Amber Ray, can we get a fact check? Oh, look at Trigger. If it ain't Georgia, he don't want to hear it.
I mean, I
No,
would do it, but since
I'm
I'm
sitting
already
there,
on the internet,
I'm listening to y'all.
Hey, Carolina coming.
matter of fact, let me do I got my laptop. I'm gonna look at my laptop
I
real
got
quick.
it right here. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I'm trying to see if they'll get me on. So he is a. They don't tell you their class no more. They say he's a sophomore, but that don't mean nothing. Yeah, I think he was a freshman last year, but he may have. I don't know,
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
because this ain't telling me nothing. Hold on. Hey, he born 2 days after me. Shout out, he in Aquarius. Shador Sanders, sophomore. He was a freshman of the year in 2021. Yeah, he was there 2021, 2022.
Okay, so 2 years.
Yeah, because he got the freshman of the year in 2021.
I'm talking about Deion Sanders though.
Oh no, he was on the watch list. I'm sorry, he was on the
Yeah, he
watch
was
list.
4. He was 4-3 his first year, 2020. I guess that was COVID. So he only
Okay.
played seven
Okay, yeah, the
games.
COVID. Okay, yeah, okay, the
Yeah,
COVID. Yep,
11 and
yep, yep, yep,
11
yep,
and
yep, yep.
2, 11 and 2 in 21, and then 12-1 his last year there.
Okay.
His
He
last
played.
two
Hold on, he
years,
been in there that long? I thought he
Yeah,
didn't
I knew
come
he was
in.
there for 3 years.
yeah,
Man,
his
ain't
last
that,
2 years is 8-0 in conference play, both years.
well, it makes sense why his dad needed a quarterback next year and not the. Okay, yep, okay. I get. That's why they got that quarterback. Dang, I didn't think he played that long. But yeah, Dion was at Jackson for what, 2, 3 years,
Hmm.
3 years. Dang, it's crazy. It's crazy how they make you think that stuff's shorter than what it is. Because the way people had me thinking when Dion left was like he was only there for about an hour and a half.
Nah, he was. No, I think people was upset because he was winning, and he was getting the top recruits. He was getting all the celebrities, and the HBCU, and they knew once he left, Jackson State was gonna go back to you
Ain't
know.
nobody checking on him. They don't even talk about him no more. And
Yeah, they
then,
don't
but
even
then
talk about
Cookman
Jackson
can't even
State.
keep a coach.
Hmm.
Virginia State
But I
undefeated,
mean,
and we don't hear about them.
I went to a HBCU. The fans don't even support the football team. They go for the band. Once the band,
Yep,
they watch the first half. Once the band plays, everybody start leaving.
it's crazy, bro.
No,
Yeah, Virginia State spending all this money on this new field and all this stuff, and don't nobody come and watch the game.
no, for real. I'm an alumni. I don't even go and watch.
Bro, like I don't get how we don't they don't build the hype around it more, especially for the community.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think for starters, the game is lackluster. They don't have the athletes. Um, and I
well,
think that's like I said. That's why they was mad about Prime leaving because he could bring in the Travis Hunter. He's the number one player in the country, and he brought him in.
I get that, but we got the transfer portal now. Now some communities start coming together and putting some money. Like if VCU had a football team, how much money could the VCU NIL deal get? Like
Hmm.
VCU basketball, I hope they're going out the NIL. VCU going out the NIL, but if we put our money together in the community and supported these colleges, they could get NIL players because you got superstars in all these schools around here that people go and watch every weekend. The Dinwitties, the Dales, Tom Matoka, all of them. Like you go watch. If they get a local superstar at a VSU, I mean, I feel
Well,
with the right marketing and everything.
they've had local superstars. They had Ray Lewis son with the Virginia State. They had that one boy. He from Norfolk. He played for the 49ers. He was a kick returner. I can't think of his name, but he went to the NFL.
The dude, what's the coach? Was coach for the DC Defenders that went to the
Yeah,
XFL championship.
Reggie Barlow. Yeah, Reggie Barlow. He
Yeah,
played
Reggie.
in the NFL,
Yeah,
and he played in the NFL as well.
like
What
we
was
got the
that
class.
dude?
What happened to the classic? Like I remember I used to talk about the classic all the time. Was it
Oh,
VSU versus Virginia Union?
the Gold Bowl.
Yeah.
No, the Labor Day Classic was Virginia State versus Norfolk State.
Okay. Yeah. Do they still do those? Like
Yeah, they still do it. Yeah,
maybe my algorithm just don't tell me about this stuff.
yeah, no, they still do it. Yeah, they do this. Like I said, Labor Day Saturday. Well, Labor Day weekend that Saturday.
Like that's why I say like around like the Virginia State, if you put some good businesses, maybe work with the hotels in Clayton Heights, put some places to stay, and made a weekend classic like that, or and then partner with Petersburg to have people come in for a weekend, and then homecoming weekend too. Like it's a lot that you could do to actually make. I mean, you about to have a presidential debate here. You about you. This is your chance to start like shining and show like, all right, this is what we have to offer.
Yeah. But look, fellas, I'm about to head on out. I gotta grade some papers, so I'll talk to y'all next
Look at
week.
him. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Appreciate you tuning in.
All right, my boy.
All right, bro. Appreciate you
All right.
stopping in.
All right.
Trigger.
Yes, sir.
Carolina Panthers going to Super Bowl
Okay.
next year.
All right.
Here's why.
They might.
Where's my book at? Did I take my notebook?
Oh, getting into it.
I got my notebook. Here you go, my notebook. Here's my notes. You
All
know.
right, what you
All
got?
right. So we fired our coach. Everybody know we fired Frank Wright today.
Mm-hmm.
We fired Josh McCown. We fired Deuce McAllister. They are. What I'm hearing is they fired all the people that wanted C.J. Stroud. Which
Really?
conspiracy theory brain thinks that's true. Because if you look at Josh McCown's video before the draft and how he talked to C.J. Stroud, look at their interaction at the pro day and all that kind of. He wanted C.J. Stroud. Frank wanted C.J. Stroud. But if we go deeper into my conspiracy brain, I think Frank genuinely thought he could trade, like change Bryce, or Frank was trying to show Tepper that you are wrong. Like I'm going to show you why Bryce isn't it. And then when they gave it to Thomas Brown like, I'm gonna show you why Bryce is it. And Thomas Brown had the offense do a little bit better than Frank Wright did, but you still had to use Frank Wright's offense because he was the head coach. We still didn't win. I mean, we did. We got our own. We got our first win was the Houston Texans, which was Thomas Brown's first game calling plays. And so I'm like, okay, my conspiracy theory brain is putting this all together. I'm like, it was Frank Wright sabotaging Bryce Young. That's my first question, my theory, where I'm basing my logic at. What do you think?
It's I mean, based off what you're saying, I could buy it.
So in that case, I said F Frank Wright. But in the other case, I'm just like Frank Wright got fired in the middle of the season last year. We hired him not less than a year later, and he got fired again, and he's got fired for the same reason.
Mhm.
So if we're gonna clear house, let's clear all the way house. Ajiro Evero, I don't feel any type of way about him not taking the job because he turned it down last year in Denver. I think he's gone anyway, but I wouldn't mind interviewing him for head coach. But before I get there, we got to clear house. We got to fire our GM, Scott Fitter. You got to go because you have been missing on your draft picks. We have not had quality draft picks for the last 3 years since you've been here. David Tepper, you've
Is
been through seven
J.C.
coaches.
Horn?
I think that may have been before him. No, it might have been one of his first picks. But J.C. Horn's only played 17 games, and Pat Surtain was the one that got drafted right after him.
Ah,
So
yeah. True.
if
You
I'm gonna
could
look
have
at
taken
Bryce Young and
13.
CJ like that, I got to look at JC and Pat Surtain.
Got a good point.
So it's
Broncos did take him right after that. 'Cause I know Dallas was looking at him before we took Michael Parsons.
yep. And then Michael Parsons. Pat Surtain and Michael Parsons was behind JC. So it's and that's what I think. Hindsight's 2020, 100, 100. Like, oh yeah, I understand that, but we got to get rid of Scott Fitter. Here's my candidates for GM. I'm Brandon Tepper right now. So I come at everybody. So we totally breaking it down. This is who I'm going after. I'm gonna make it like PBD said. Make your intentions clear who you want. Adam Peters, assistant GM for the 49ers. Ian Cunningham, assistant GM for the Bears. Mike Borgazanzi, assistant GM for the Chiefs. We interviewed him in 2021 with the Scott Fitterer class. Brant Tillis, the VP of Football Operations for the Chiefs. And then Joe Horwitz, the Director of Player Personnel for the Ravens. That's who I'm bringing in the interview for my GM candidates. Coaching, Ben Johnson, Dan Quinn, Jara Evero, Jim Harbaugh. I'm interviewing Brian Hartline, the OC for, I believe he's the OC for Ohio State, for our offensive coordinator. Frank Smith, Ken Dorsey, maybe for offensive coordinator. Josh McCown, I'll give you another chance at OC. Thomas Brown, uh, OC. Josh McCown and Thomas Brown, OC. Todd Monken, head coach. Lou Anarumo, head coach. Brian Flores, head coach. Steve Wilkes, head coach. Bill O'Brien is an OC because Bill O'Brien coached Bryce Young in his Heisman season at Alabama. So Bill O'Brien knows how to get production out of Bryce Young. Joe Brady for OC or head coach. Mike LaFleur for OC. And then Bobby Slowick for head coach. Now, here's my fantasy dream team that I didn't know was possible until I read an athletic article today. Greg Olson said if approached, he would entertain the thought of being the Carolina Panthers head coach.
Hmm.
And you as a player, and this is my mind, Greg Olson in as the head coach. He's a player just formerly retired. You can relate to people that's there. You can come talk to him and really hear what you need to say. I give you respect, Greg Olson, because you about to be a Hall of Fame tight end. You actually know what you're talking about. You've watched the game. You've seen all the teams play. You've been in the analyst booth, so you studied all the teams. So I know what teams do. I kind of understand their concepts. I talk to the players. I know who they are. I know all this kind of stuff. Cool. But I actually understand the game from being on offense. For defense, what I don't know, I'm gonna get my best friend and my current defensive coordinator for my little league team, Luke Kuechly, to come in and be a defensive coordinator because I think Luke Kuechly could be a darn good defensive coordinator. I think he really could be on the field coordinating some defenses. So get Luke Kuechly at DC, or we can go get a Brian Flores and say Brian Flores or whoever. Or I want Luke Kuechly. I want Luke Kuechly to be your assistant defensive coordinator. But I think Greg Olson, he is a player. He can come to the players in the way they know they need to hear it. He has a relationship with Dave Tepper. He can say, hey, Dave Tepper, just step back and let me do my thing. Let me come in here. Let me do it. We can promote Dan Morgan to full time GM because he's a player too and he's a darn good scout. He comes from the Bills. And let's go in here. You sit back, you go collect your checks, and we're going to actually go build you a darn good football team. I just think that'd be a culture change in the locker room. Let me get your thoughts on that. I know I said a
Yeah,
lot. I'm sorry.
yeah. With the head coaches, man, I think that the Bill O'Brien one was interesting, given that he's worked with
Bryce
Bryce
Young.
Young. So having that relationship, we've seen that work out with some players in the league.
And he's on the
Working with
Patriots coaching
coaches.
staff, so he may be leaving.
Right, very much so.
I'm sorry.
I like
Go
the blind Brian Flores potential. Being a head coach there because he's what the DC right now in Pittsburgh.
Yes. No,
Yeah, so
Minnesota. He's playing tonight.
Minnesota.
But the only thing I don't like about him, Trigger, is his thing with Tua. Him and Tua didn't get along, and Bryce is the same quarterback as Tua. So if you couldn't
Mm.
make it work with Tua, and Mike McDaniel could come make it work with Tua,
He just don't like Alabama quarterbacks, huh? That's what you're saying?
that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But somebody said that you have to get somebody that comes in and say, "I believe in you, Bryce." Like I'm like Bryce, how young I believe in you, and I'm going to build a team around you. That's why I think Greg Olson could come do it because he can come off as that player, big brother, vet player type feel to where it's not really it's coaching, but it's not. You get it criticism that some people may feel because I don't know what players you're dealing with. Some players like the coaches, the father figure thing, like I don't.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off again.
No, you good. Also with Greg Olson potentially being head coach, like me as a Cowboys fan, man, I would love to see Troy Aikman be
Hmm.
the head coach now, because like when he analyzes our games, the type of player that he was when he was in the league, when he was winning championships in the '90s, like looking at old clips of him, how he would get after teammates and hold people accountable, and like how he conducted himself. Like the man was an extension of Jimmy Johnson in terms of, being a coach on the field. Like Jimmy was on the sidelines doing it. Troy Aikman was what Jimmy would have been if Jimmy was on the field with that Cowboys team.
Right.
So I love, Troy in that. I would love to see him in a head coaching capacity where he's like, channeling his inner Jimmy Johnson for the Dallas Cowboys. That would be my dream hire for the Dallas Cowboys. Troy Aikman as head coach, because I guarantee you he would turn that franchise around. Like him as head coach and the talent that they have, I have no doubt. Again, him being a Formula now, the difference between him and Greg Olson is, it's been, 20, 25 years
Yeah.
since Troy Aikman last played. Greg Olson just retired, recently. So he's more, you know,
In the game,
in tune with, today's game and
the ebbs and
today's
flows.
players, and how, they carry themselves now. And, Troy is used to being coached a certain way, that old school, coaching. Like, and it's like you were saying, a lot of the guys, nowadays, some of them you gotta talk to them a little differently. You can't be hard on them, and you have that old school way of coaching and doing things, that was acceptable back in those times. So that might be the only challenge for Troy and other, guys who are, in that, from that time or from that era. If they were to be a coach, they're going to obviously coach in a way that they were coached, and the way things were done when they were players, that they saw, that they experienced. So I don't know how that's going to mesh with today's generation players because obviously they're different from the type of football players that were around back in the early '90s, mid '90s, whatever, early 2000s, like different caliber of football players. And I'm not saying one's better than the other, or one group's better than the other, one group's tougher than the other. I'm just saying that times have changed in terms of what you can do, what
Yeah,
you can't do, what you can say. Excuse me, what you can say, what you can't say. People are more sensitive nowadays.
yep.
With social media. Players have bigger egos now. Like you can't do anything to them, can't talk to them a certain kind of way. You know, all that. So that would be the biggest difference between Troy coming to coach the Cowboys versus Greg Olson coming to coaching the Panthers. But I do love the idea of having a former player, someone like a Greg Olson, who's, you know, he's Carolina Panthers through and through. He's been there. He's seen the best of the best, the worst of the worst. He can relate. He's going to be a Hall. He has all the credentials that I would like to have, like a player head coach.
And then you get the Josh Normans coming back, the Thomas Davis, I mean they come back now, but they'll come back more. The Jay Stews, the Troy Ball. Like you get the players that used to be there to come back more, and it's like you said, it's that culture. You bring that winning culture around. Like you bring a culture of winning. I mean, we've
Yeah,
hired a coach that lost, and from what I heard from Indianapolis, they didn't have a good culture in their locker room. Their team didn't have a good culture, and what you see from our team is undisciplined. A lot of those penalties,
yes,
false starts, is undisciplined. You got
yes,
to have a disciplined team. Your team is his coach. Philly is a tough, gritty team because Philly is a tough, gritty city, and their coach is a tough, gritty part. Like that's just who.
yeah.
That's how Philly
They
wins.
embody
Very
all of that. That's very
yep.
important.
And we just don't have an identity right now. Like that's the thing. We don't have an identity. B looks so cold. I don't look cold. I just look like I'm bundled up. I'm chilling though. You only see the blanket. The blanket look cold. The blanket look cold. I got the blanket down there, sitting on the porch, because we got guests over in the podcast room. Don't
Got to
worry.
be comfy. Got to be comfy.
Coming soon. Coming soon. We're gonna have our own little content creator studio this time next year. Coming soon, Trigger. I ain't
Yeah,
cold. I'm
fall
covered in the
right.
blood of the Lord. Yeah, we talking. The guy gonna call me tomorrow. As long
Okay.
as his blood run through my veins, I feel no cold.
I
You
feel
know
no
they.
evil.
You know Amber Ray. I'm like one of the wolves off Twilight. I'm warm. But yeah, Trigger. Uh, oh, and then I got to restructure Taylor Bowden because he costing me too much money and he's not looking good. Excuse me. Ian Thomas, you might not be here. Austin Corbett, you got hurt twice and you're on IR again. I love you as a guard, but you got one more season left anyway on us. Shaq Thompson, Shaq Thompson, you got to play or you got to skate. Dante Jackson, you saying you don't want to be here? Then go ahead because I feel like you lost a step anyway. You got to get Chin Burns, uh, Derek Brown, and Frankie Louvu re-signed. Oh, I didn't talk to you after the game too. You watched the Carolina game against the Cowboys?
I saw bits and pieces of it because the
Did
program I was watching on my computer would not allow me to watch the game in one sitting
you? Dang.
because it wasn't televised.
Well, I'm
So I
gonna
had to
go.
go
I'm
to
gonna
my
get the
little
all
bootleg
22.
sites. I had to go to my little bootleg sites and
Man,
pull
they
up the
got me
games
with
that
the
ain't on
Sunday.
TV.
I got the Sunday ticket, bro. They found YouTube TV and talked me into it. It was
I'm just
eighty
too
nine dollars.
cheap to it because
It was
Dallas don't
$22, man. They
play.
told me to it was $23 a month, man.
Dallas only plays with like every season they'll have like 2 or 3 games that aren't televised. The rest of them be on TV. So it's like it's no
Yeah.
point. I'd rather just go on the internet
I don't know,
and
man.
go on one of the sites and try to find the.
It felt good
But
watching the game in real time with no delay, and
I know it
no
does. I
skipping and
mean,
buffering,
it do
no
it
skipping
do
and buffering.
it do make me think about it, man. I swear every time I pull the game up on the websites and it started to buffering and freezing and skipping and or the link don't even work and all that stuff, man, I be confident, man. I go ahead and just pay the Sunday ticket, man, so I ain't got to deal with this. But then it's like, I spend all that money just to watch the games. It's like, yeah, I feel like overall it's not worth it. In the
It's
moment,
a
my emotions just get the best of me because like I really want to watch the game.
it,
But
it's research for the pod, brother.
I
It's a
literally have
tax
to
write
have
off.
conversations with myself to like, hey,
It's a tax write off, Trigger. You're a business, man. It's research.
maybe, I suppose, I don't know, but
But no, I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
there's
I
no
bit the
point in
bullet,
me
man.
getting it.
Cause I watched more football this weekend, and I realized and I saw how I look at only the Panthers, and I'm like, man, we just suck. We just so bad. But I looked at some other teams, and I was like, yeah, we suck. We just really bad. But if Bryce had time, he may look like some of these other quarterbacks. But then a lot of these other quarterbacks got top receivers and
Got an offensive line.
offensive line. I was looking at it. I was looking at some offensive line. Who was it I was looking at? I was like, I think it was the Browns, DTR. I was watching DTR on one of his podcasts. I was like, bruh. But no, back to what I was saying. I don't know if you saw Derek Brown toss Zach Martin on one of those plays. He like had Zach Martin and he tossed him, and they were like, they even said it. They're like, dang, that's an All Pro guard right there. He just tossed off, and that when on that play, I was like, yeah, I got to keep DB. So I got to resign DB. Got to resign Frankie Louvu. Um, and I wanted to ask you because I keep getting a guard mocked to me in my mock drafts, and I take them. Cedric Van Pier,
I don't know
I
much
think that's
about him.
from Georgia. One of y'all guards. Well, that's good if you don't know much about him. So that means he ain't getting beat.
Yeah, if I don't know him by name, then he must be doing something right.
They said he ain't gave up sacks, and I saw it in his profile I looked at. But I had him. I got Carson Beck one time in like the fourth or fifth round. I got Carson Beck. Um, yeah, I got a couple mocks, man. A couple mocks. They got Brock Bowers going top five,
Really?
and these mocks I've been doing, he be going top five. I had one mock. They had Caleb Williams at 20.
What?
They say he failed, man. People been talking he failed behind Drake May and stuff.
I mean, I would think there'd be a little bit of a drop off, maybe not the number one or number two overall pick, but I still think he'd be in the top 10.
But look at Jaden Daniels, Jaden Daniels. You got Michael Penix, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, and then I think it's a little bit of like the Bryce treatment. Did Bryce mess up Caleb Williams' money? Because you look at Bryce running around for his life, like that stuff work in college. When we get to the NFL, that improvisation shit don't work. Shit don't work. You got to stay in that pocket and throw that ball, or if you're gonna improvise, you got to do like Russ and have a coach that got you some weapons. Because I've been watching the Broncos and I'm mad. I'm like, if Bryce Young can just get a little bit thicker and we get some pause that, and we get some weapons, we got a chance.
I mean, hey, it's there for y'all. I mean,
Or we got Zach
now's a
Wilson.
chance for y'all to rebuild things the right way. I mean, no, just
Well, we got Zach Wilson.
well, I tell you what, with I think Zach Wilson's gonna be one of those quarterbacks where the system around him is going to be what makes him successful in it. And, like we
I
had this
think
conversation before, where like certain guys they're just elite. No matter where you place them, they're
yeah,
going to do what they do, and they are the system. And James Harden said
right.
it. I am the system. You got some quarterbacks who are that. You got others who we've seen fail under certain coordinators, under certain head coaches and leadership, and we see them thrive maybe on the same team with others in charge or a different offense. Or, they go to a different team, with different coach, different coordinator, and they thrive. Or they go vice versa, they fail because they were successful somewhere else and they go somewhere else under a new scheme, under a new system, whatever. They don't look good. That's why I say I would love to see Brock Purdy playing, something like Brock Purdy was playing in in Carolina.
He
If
did.
Brock Purdy was in, like
You saw Brock Purdy in Carolina. It was the NFC Championship game last year.
But
Yeah, you
then he
know what
get
happened.
hurt.
He got hurt exactly.
Let's see. Yeah,
Golly.
but anywho, yeah, like so I like to see how I
He
don't I
said,
feel bad
anywho.
for Zach Wilson. Things have been very hard for him in New York, and I think a lot of it comes from just being in that city,
Yeah.
performing in that market for that team. Like the New York media, the fan base, they're very rough, they're very rowdy. Like a lot of people don't make it, and they're completely different players because of just that alone.
Right.
Like, and I know this because I'm a New York Yankees fan, and I see how certain guys play when they come in and play for us versus when we let them go or trade them, and how they play for other teams. Like
Otani going to the Dodgers.
we've had two pitchers, Jordan Montgomery come in, and there was another guy, I forget his name. But both of them went elsewhere afterwards. They became one of the best, or two of the best pitchers in the entire league once they left New York. Now, when they were in New York, they were good, they were decent. They could have been better, but they weren't quite, up to par, which is why, the Yankees didn't hold on to them. And they go elsewhere, and they were literally lights out.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton in Miami, terrorist, absolute terrorist of the baseball, just
I gotta
crushing
play
it.
that on YouTube.
Well,
I
you
don't
know
know.
what
I'll
I
play
mean.
it. I'll
I'm not
play
trying to
it.
offend nobody.
I'll play it.
Probably could use a better word. That's the first word that popped in my head. But Giancarlo Stanton was an absolute beast down in Miami. NL MVP, all that. Gets to New York, hasn't really done much, but stay hurt, really. Um,
Y'all GM took a shot at him, man. That's petty.
but
That's
he
petty,
told the
man.
truth.
That's
I
petty,
don't. I
yo.
don't look. I don't agree.
That's petty.
I don't agree, and he's upset. I'm sure he's just as upset as the rest of the Yankees fan base is. Yeah, I'm
Golly.
sure he's upset. Um,
Otani
sorry
going to
for a
the
second.
Dodgers, bro. They said the Yankees not in on him, but they want Yamamoto.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I don't believe we'll get anybody or Otani big free agent until I see it. I'm not getting my hopes up with Yankees because, excuse me, man. Just like the Cowboys, remind me Heat. Every time somebody becomes a free agent, guess what? Those teams are always linked to those people, and nothing ever happens. So I'm not getting my hopes up with the Yankees. They're not gonna sign nobody. So Carlos Stanton's still gonna be on the roster. He's gonna play in about 20, about 162 games next season. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be it. That's what I'm expecting. That's my mindset. So I don't even get let down when nothing happens and Giancarlo misses the whole season next year. But again, talking about that, I don't agree with how he just kind of blasting them in public. But he won't lie. Like the man's been hurt. Like every time you look around, he's hurt. Man can never come back and get into a rhythm because he's hurt. Like come back, he's designated hitter. Okay, you put him in the outfield because he's still working him back into the fold, working him back into things, and then he gets hurt again. It's like a cycle. Comes in, he gets hurt, or comes in, he strikes out. You know, at least three times a game. He goes to the plate, strikes out. What I mean? He don't draw walks. Nothing. It's either home run or strike out with him. Like when Aaron Judge, I like the fact that he at least puts the ball in play. Like he ain't got to be a home run every time. I know he swings for the fences too, but he'll at least get you one in play. Like John Carlo is home run bust. So anyway, didn't mean to get all far off subject. It's baseball. I brought up the New York Yankees and Giancarlo Stanton to just kind of further prove my point about how guys play in a market like New York
Yeah.
versus somewhere like I don't know Cleveland. It's just no pressure. Like Jordan Montgomery, the pitcher I was telling you about with the Yankees, like playing in New York, you know, wasn't great, which is why the Yankees let him go. And he goes to the Cardinals, and he's literally lights out. Like some of the best pitching I've seen and seen. I'm like, well, where was this in New York? But some guys just can't handle that pressure. Some guys just don't. I don't know. They're different. So with Zach Wilson, I would like to see him elsewhere in a different system with a different regime in charge and kind of see how he does. And then we can say, okay, it's him, versus his environment. But now, by no means am I saying the environment is the reason why he playing the way he playing. Like, obviously, it has to do with him, his decision making. It has to do with, the coaches, the schemes, the play calling, all the things that, actually, football, you know, things, stuff on the field, rather than, we're talking about the environment in New York and the media, the fans, the market, all that stuff, that's a beast within itself. But just talking about stuff on the field, like, those things obviously contribute to him being who he is. On top of dealing with all the stuff off the field when it comes to the city of New York and how rough and ruthless they can be on athletes. So I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I don't. Kind of hard to imagine him being there even as a backup. I feel like they maybe trade him or release him, and he ends up somebody will give him another chance. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, somebody will pick him up. Put him on the squad. There are teams out there there's always teams that seem like every year that could use a
He can go to
quarterback.
he can go to the Saudi league, the Saudi Arabia league. They paying big money for baseball out there. I don't know
Yeah, I
any
heard
of that
about
else.
that.
I don't know if they are, but they paying big money
Oh,
for
never.
soccer, football. Sorry, football. How much? I got 5% left, Trigga,
Uh oh. What you charge at?
in the house. I'm about to go grab the computer. All right, I'll be back.
All right. Take your time.
I'm here, Trigga. I'm just looking for my charger.
All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Trigga? Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
All right, I'm leaving the charger. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me still?
Yep. Uh-huh.
All right, we back. Let me let back up. In my blankie. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't. Carolina, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We due for a 40-point game now.
See how I do for a 40-point game?
Everybody get that 40-point game when they fire their coach. So
Hmm.
well, I think we need to go ahead and Well, we need to show something to Tampa Bay so Mike Evans can come to Carolina next year. He on my free agent list.
Yeah, he could possibly be available if they don't come up with a contract resolution. They were trying to. I believe they were trying to get that done before the season started, but they weren't able to come to a deal. But I mean, he's definitely proved his worth to that team. I mean, I feel like he's worth whatever he wants, especially the
I
day and
also
age what the receivers are getting paid. They're going up. He's definitely a number one wide receiver. Um, he's been very productive this season. Now he did have the hamstring injury earlier, but he came back from that pretty fast. Didn't miss any significant amount of time with that. And he's still been productive. And we all know how tricky hamstring injuries can be and how they can
hmm
hinder players. And it's one of those injuries that it seems like you can never really heal, especially in a game of football where you're constantly going. Um, they're very tricky. Like, one day you feel fine, next day you feel like it's about to pop on you. It's very tricky to judge. So the fact that he's able to come back from that and still be productive, um, not really have any setbacks from it.
J.C.
Baker
Horn been out
Mayfield
10
is the
weeks.
quarterback. Like he deserves his money. He deserves. I would love to see Mike Evans in a situation where he could win him. Well, he already won a ring with Tom Brady,
hmm
but I like to see him in a situation where if he's still being competitive or trying to be competitive, I like to see him in a situation where he could contribute to a team and help win
Dallas.
them a Super Bowl. I feel like it won't be enough balls to go around in Dallas. Um,
Him, CD.
I feel like him, C, Brandon Cooks. Oh, that would be lethal. I mean, we had Amari Cooper and C.D. Lamb. Um,
Amari Cooper
but
doing his
yeah,
thing,
I
man.
would I would not be mad if Dallas went and signed Mike Evans. I mean, he's still in his prime. He's still putting up big numbers. Um, very reliable pass catcher. He's not known as a guy to drop many passes. Um, yeah, that looks good to me. It sounds good to me. Him lined up with C.D. Lamb and Brandon Cooks, who's finally coming along now. They're finally using him. He's becoming more of a factor as the weeks go on. Um, yeah, I just think we gotta do something with Michael Gallup. We gave him the new contract. And Jerry paid the man while he was hurt. This after he tore his ACL. He gave him the money, and he's come back from that injury. He hasn't really looked like himself. Um,
That's why I
he's
signed
basically,
Martavius Bryant.
yeah, it's like we got plenty of receiver depth. Um, we got obviously our starters and Lamb and Brandon Cook. I feel like I thought Gallup was the number three, but now you got Tolbert, you got Brooks, you got Martavis Bryant we signed, who's still on the practice squad, I believe. I don't think he's been elevated yet.
You got Turpin.
Turpin's been in the receiving game. And obviously we all got our tight ends, Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, who really hasn't played much the last couple of weeks. And it's really been Jake Ferguson, and you got a catch here and a catch there for Schoonmaker, the tight end that we drafted um, this past
School.
April. Uh, but yeah, they're loaded with pass catchers. But again, just like the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, good players come available. Those two teams always seem to be in the mix, and Dallas needs to get in the mix. Now I hear that Dallas is interested in Shaq Leonard from
Yeah.
Indianapolis. He's
He
actually
got a
supposed
lot
to
of
commit.
teams. Y'all better not let him leave, or he going to Philly or Kansas City.
And Philly also is a team. Philly is also a team that was listed that was interested in Leonard as well. They said Dallas, Denver, and Philly were the three teams that were interested in Leonard. And there have been quite a few reports that come out of Dallas that say Jerry Jones is doing his homework on Leonard's injury history. And obviously he had the nerve issues where he had back surgery. And since the back surgery, he's come back and he hasn't really looked or performed up to the production um, that he once did. And obviously, nerves are nothing to play with. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you talk about head injuries and neck injuries.
You think
Back
late?
injuries could be put in that category too. As something that could be detrimental depending on where it's at. Um, but yeah, they said definitely it affected his speed. And Jerry seems to have a thing for signing guys who either A, ain't played in 10 years, or B, guys who had an extensive or had a career threatening or career diminishing injury. We just talked about how he signed Michael Gallup to the big contract after Gallup tore his ACL. We've seen him bring back Randy Gregory after Randy Gregory hadn't played in like 2 or 3 seasons. We just seen him bring back Martavis Bryant, who hadn't played an NFL game in over 5 years. Um, and now they're interested in Shaq Leonard, who has an extensive history with injury to his back. So I tend to see a pattern here with the Dallas Cowboys signing certain players, um, that are hurt or guys who signing guys who are hurt or signing guys who ain't been in the league, you know, in years. Just completely backwards. But hey, I'm just glad that they're going after the guy because this dude was a beast before the surgery to his back.
Yeah, yeah. Darius
He
Leonard,
definitely yeah
he's a
he
monster.
earned the money that he got, and it's just amazing how a player can be you know that great, and make that kind of impact on a defense, and then an injury just changes all of that. I'm not saying the dude is completely wasted and that he's not, nearly as good as what he used to be. He's still somewhat productive. I think now Dallas like to bring him in because we don't have, we're not deep at linebacker. With Leighton Vander Esch now going out for the season. We got Bell and we got Clark, but obviously bringing in a Leonard playing that in that spot. Like, I think it's more so now, that veteran presence amongst the linebacker crew. Having somebody there who's been through it, who knows how it goes, who can kind of take these young guys under his wing. And not only do that, he can also, still somewhat perform to some degree and, be effective on the field as well. So I think it'll be interesting, to bring him in, just to keep him away from Philly, um, and see how he does. And another thing too, playing in Indianapolis, he was great. And obviously, an injury slowed him down. But sometimes a change of scenery, a new team, a new defensive scheme, you know, can do wonders for a player. Numbers can bounce back up. Maybe not as high as what they once were, but maybe better than what they as of recently. So, I would love to see him in Dallas. Um, and for me, it would be another move that Dallas makes. Um, finally, that I feel like, well, great. They feel that they can get better. Like their egos aren't big enough to the point that they feel like what they have is, absolutely fine, and that they don't feel the need to be better. So that would kind of, put that argument to bed. If they went out and got Leonard, after uh, the 49ers went out and got Chase Young and Randy Gregory, and the Eagles went and got, Julio and Byard from Tennessee, making power moves. I don't think this will be a power move for Dallas because, given the player and his injury history and all that, it's not the same as, Philly bringing in Byard or San Fran bringing in, Well, I mean, they brought in Gregory and Chase Young. Chase Young's got an extensive injury history, and
Can you
Randy
hear me?
Gregory, he's been kind of out of it a little bit, but still two great pass rushers nonetheless. And both of those guys can absolutely wreak havoc on a defense. I've seen them up close and personal because one guy played with the team that I root for every Sunday, and the other guy we played against. So I know what Chase Young can do. I know what Randy Gregory can do. And the 49ers obviously know what they can do, which is why they went out and signed him. Um, so yeah, I would like to see Dallas go out and get Leonard. Long story short, uh,
Can you hear me?
and yes,
Okay. Uh, I think he should come to Carolina.
he could. He's free to sign whatever team he wants to.
No, he going to. I think he's going to y'all Philly. Um,
I really feel like Dallas is going to sign him though. I really do for a
he
couple
could
of
go to
reasons.
Miami, and they can move Van Ginkel down since they lost Jalen Phillips. Um, it's a couple teams. He in a good spot right now. And like you said, as long as that nerve damage isn't career threatening or even worse, life threatening, I think he should go for it. I mean, he was a hell of a player.
Yes, and like I said, he still has a lot to offer. I think, and like I said, maybe leaving that scheme, the defensive scheme he was in Carolina. I'm not Carolina, but Indianapolis, and then now going to Dallas and being in that defense. You know, with Michael Parsons and others running around, we might not require a whole lot from him. Like I said, just that veteran leadership and that veteran presence. The younger guys on the squad mixed in with a little production that he can give, I think will be good enough to help.
Coming and make some tackles and everything like that.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm glad it ain't just us who was playing bad on Monday Night Football on prime time. You think the Vikings making the playoffs when JJ come back? Packers look completely different.
I think I think that the Vikings can make it. Um, they better not lose tonight.
Yeah.
But they've been playing good football surprisingly. I thought after the Cousins injury that they were done, and it wasn't like they were going anywhere anyway from the looks of it. And that's not to say that Kirk Cousins was playing bad because he was leading the NFL in touchdown passes and yards when he went down. Um, so he was playing well. But for whatever reason, they went out and got Dobbs from the Cardinals, and like they plugged him in and was like, here you go, like nothing, didn't miss a beat. Um, so I feel like they can be one of those surprise teams that can get in there. Um, and a wild card spot obviously because the Lions more than likely are going to end up winning that division. But if they win enough
You better
games, they
watch
could
out for
definitely get
Green
in.
Bay, man. Green Bay got a chance to come back on them.
I just don't see it. They're too up and down for me. Um,
They got the Lions twice. They got to play the Lions twice, and the Lions going through the
yeah,
tough part of their schedule.
well, yeah, that's true. I mean, if they win both of those games, the Lions start dropping some. The Vikings obviously got to lose some games too. So, I mean, I don't know if all that happens, but like I say, Green Bay, like they'll show up and they'll beat Detroit, but then they'll turn around and they'll lose to, you know, a team with,
Carolina
yeah, like Carolina. I
in
didn't
two
want to say
weeks.
it. I was trying to spare you, brother. I could make
Carolina in
that
2 weeks. Hey,
too.
Carolina, we gonna win that game, bro. That's still on the way to going to the playoffs. It starts this week. The leader in our division, I think, is what 5 games or 6 games. How
I
many
think
games
it's
we got
five.
left?
I don't think
Six.
anyone in your
It's five.
division has more than 5 wins.
How
You
many
got
games
two
we got left?
teams
Five
at
games. Six
five.
games. We got 6 games left. You trying to get an Arizona sponsorship? Oh, that Arizona tea you be drinking over there.
Ah,
Um, yeah, we got 6 games left, right? This is week 12.
yeah, we're 8-3.
We won in 10. So what is it? 6 games.
Yeah, we got 6 games. Yeah, 6 games left.
Hey, you thinking we can rattle off 6 wins? Hey,
No.
seven games might win our division, brother.
Yeah, it very well could.
Seven.
But
Hey,
other teams got to lose too, which means you got to beat whoever you playing in your division twice that you haven't played
we
yet.
play the Bucks twice. We play the Falcons and we play the Saints. That's 4 of our last 7 games. And then we got
Got to win all
Jacksonville,
4 of those. Got to be Jacksonville. They're 8-3.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, you just said they were playing okay. I still think they're a little streaky.
That's
I
fine.
would be
Like
surprised
you
if they
said, they're gonna
lost.
lose to us. You said they're gonna
They
lose to
probably
us.
will lose. They probably will lose to you.
And we got the Bucks, the Saints, the Falcons, the Packers, the Jaguars, and the Bucks. So we only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. Yeah, we got the Jags on New Year's Eve, and we got the Packers on Christmas Eve. But our next 3 games are the Bucks, the Saints, and the Falcons. Winnable games, Tree.
They are.
That'll be what 4-10, and then the Packers and Jaguars. And if we go into that Bucks game on January 7th for the division, you know how bad they would flex that game.
Well,
They
I
already
bet.
flexed us this week. They flexed us this week for the Houston game. So I think everybody else playing at 1 o'clock. We playing at 4 o'clock. I saw that today on CBS. Ain't nobody playing at 4 or 5.
Hmm.
Trigger about to take a nap on me.
Oh, no, sorry. I was watching something on TV.
You sound like old grandpa. I won't sleep. I'll watch something on the TV.
No, I'm really not. I know the angle looks like my eyes are closed, but I'm awake, buddy. I promise you.
He
I
said,
promise
"Watch
you.
something." Oh man, who we got? Who we got? Who we got? NBA. We ain't talking NBA. We ain't talking NBA. I ain't been keeping up, but I heard the in season tournament been doing this thing this year.
It has, man. I feel like the players are taking it seriously, and for the most part, I've seen the stars have been playing like they ain't been on the bench,
Yeah.
load management. And again, I know you all know how I feel about that, but you know. Anywho, I'm upset with the Miami Heat because we had another game where we had a 21-point lead and we lost. Um, this is the second time it happened in a week. We played back-to-back games against the Chicago Bulls. In the first game, we were up 21 points, and the Bulls came back and won. Then we ended up blowing them out in the second game by like 18. It was like then we played the Knicks. The Knicks game was part of the in-season tournament, and we played them in Madison Square Garden. We were up 21 points on them late in that game. Late. At least the Bulls game was early. So they spent the whole game coming back. This was late against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And they came back from 21 down. The Miami Heat had probably the best third quarter of the season to build that lead. And then they followed it up with the worst fourth quarter. They only had 11 points.
Is it a certain lineup or is it just
Well, I think not having Tyler Hero hurt us in those games. I also think that There was there was some moments where I felt like because
Incomplete.
normally in the fourth quarter, when Jimmy Butler's playing, he's usually taking his fourth quarter rest on the bench, and he doesn't come in until about the 6 or 7 minute mark left in the fourth. I felt like the way that game was going, if they wanted to win, the Coach Spo should have put him in a little bit sooner. Like in the Bulls game, I saw it coming, saw it happening. I'm like, all right, Spo, get him in the game, get him in the game, get him in the game. And they wait and they wait and they wait, and then they put him out there. So here's the thing I have about Jimmy too. In the Knicks game, right? It gave me very bad flashbacks of the 2022 Eastern Conference Finals, where Game 7 in Miami, you know, the Heat are down. They come back. They have a chance to essentially win the game, and Jimmy has a chance to go to the bucket, get a layup to tie it, or get fouled, get the and one. But he pulls up in transition and shoots a three, and he missed it. And essentially lose that game in the series.
Hey, he thought he was Steph.
So against the Knicks in this regular season game, in season tournament, we same scenario. The Knicks come back, take the lead after they were down 21 points in the fourth quarter. And the Heat have a chance to go down and tie the game. We're down two. Jimmy has the ball. RJ Barrett is guarding him in the corner. Now before Jimmy was going in, he going to the bucket, getting fouls, or whatever, and like on the free throw line. All right, why not do that this time? This man goes and shoots a step back three, contested three to try to win the game. And of course he didn't make it. I'm like, Jimmy, why are we shooting step back threes? That's
he
not you,
he
bro.
think he's
I've
Steph. He want
never
to be
seen
Jason
him
Tatum.
shoot a step back three. Now, can he make the 3 point shot? Yes. That was the only 3 pointer he missed, by the way. He was 3 for 3
I don't
from three
care.
point
That's the
range
one that count.
in that game.
That's the
And
one
he
that
just
count.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. Those three that he made earlier, they came in rhythm. Those were Jimmy shots.
Right.
They were Jimmy esque. He was patient. They came in the flow of the offense. The last three he took was forced. He made a movement that he does not normally make when he shoots threes. Jimmy is a set shooter from 3 point range. He's not catching and shooting
He
off the
like me.
dribble.
He like me.
Yes, he's like you. He's not catching and shooting off the dribble, like Steph and Clay. He's not stepping back. He's not,
Oh no, I got all that.
nothing.
I got
He
all
has the
that.
ball in his hands. He's teeing you up, jab, jab, set, shoot it. Like that's what he does. He went 3 for 3 doing that. Every 3 pointer he makes, that's what he does. I've never seen Jimmy Butler catch and shoot a three. I've never seen him shoot a three off the dribble. I've never seen it. And he tries to do a step back 3 pointer with RJ Barrett contesting it to try to win a game.
RJ Barrett, he a good defender.
That's what I'm saying. He's a good defender. He's a long defender too. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe if you're doing that
He
on
had the
Jalen
length.
Brunson, if
Yep.
you're doing it on Jalen Brunson, okay, maybe that's it's a little better because he's not bothering you as much
Yeah.
on the contest. But RJ Barrett is the same size and not bigger than you because everybody's bigger than Miami. And you shooting a step back three over this dude's outstretched arms, and he missed it. So I'm like, why do you settle for that shot? I get it. You're probably, this is the first game of a back to back. You're trying to go for the win. You don't want to go to overtime and wear yourself out because you got to play again the next night. But Jimmy didn't play the next night because he tweaked his ankle in that game, so he set out in the
So
second
he
game.
ain't care.
Like
He ain't care.
him,
He like,
him, Bam, and Hero was already out with injury. Duncan Robinson was out because he did something to his hand. So we got four of our biggest scorers right there on the bench in the following game after the Knicks game. They played the Knicks game. I'm sorry, only Bam and Jimmy played the Knicks game. Adebayo, Hero was still out the ankle injury, and Duncan Robinson didn't play because of the injury to his hand. Um, but the next game, nobody played. All four of them, Jimmy and Bam, were nursing injuries. They said Bam had a hip injury, and Jimmy obviously was, his ankle. After he rolled it against the Knicks, he was trying to recuperate from that.
You think his
And
ankle
then
messed up?
I don't think it's messed up. They showed the replay. I can't remember which ankle it was when he hurt himself in the playoffs against the same Knicks team, by the way, um, in the first game of that series. But he went up for a rebound, an offensive rebound, and he came down on somebody's foot and he kind of tweaked his ankle. I
Like
mean, he didn't
Kyrie
tweak
Leonard.
it bad. He didn't tweak it bad enough to the point where he couldn't come back and play. And in the playoffs last year against the Knicks, he came back and played, but you could obviously tell that he wasn't himself. Like he could barely move. He was just out on the floor as a decoy. That's it. Like he wasn't running normally. Like his run, like he couldn't run, couldn't put weight on his foot. He was just out there on pure adrenaline, just being a decoy. But this game against the Knicks a few days ago, when he rolled his ankle, he actually stayed. This was early in the game. He actually played throughout the entirety of the game. He was still attacking the basket. He could move side to side well. He wasn't stiff. He was just kind of in one spot like he was in the playoffs when he rolled his ankle. So that led me to believe that the rolling of the ankle this time was not as bad as it was the first time because, you know, the way he was moving and how aggressive he was um, afterwards, after he rolled it. Like I said, I hate to see that go away. Um, I hate to see that, with that injury, the ankle injury not being as bad as it was in the playoffs. I hate to see that he, sat out the following night. And then that's also when I found out that Jimmy will not be playing in any back-to-back games this season. So he will be load managing
I thought they couldn't
back-to-back
load
games.
manage, or is it certain exceptions?
They still do. I guess they'll say that he has some kind of injury or something put on the injury report and make it so that it looks like he's hurt. But
But don't they got Braun the only one they got the exception, right?
he should.
I think they said if
Don't
you got a certain amount of time, you got an exception. Golly, boy, everybody getting something, man. It's got you too.
dude, I've been sick this entire month of November.
Bro, yeah, I had it hit me,
Like
bro.
every week has been something different. And now I got this cough that I can't get rid of.
Uh oh, you got that, Katie. Katie got a cough. She had cough 6 years.
Yeah, they.
Nah, she had to get like a nebulizer and all that kind of stuff.
Oh wow.
But they've been saying like it's what a RSV or something going on.
Yeah, for the kids.
Yeah, the kids give us everything now, especially in them schools.
Yeah, my kids actually. I've been more sick than they have been.
Yeah, that's what it happens. That's how it happens. They got that immune system for it. Our immune system getting old. I
Huh.
gotta, I gotta actually start drinking fluids and getting rest when I'm sick.
Yeah, same here.
Like yeah, like that's real. Man, I look at other offenses and they just look so much better than our offense.
Man, yeah.
Whatever. Hey, don't be mad when y'all come to Carolina for the first playoff game. And JC Horn gets two of them things.
You gonna be healthy enough to do so?
Hey, so when Deron Bland ain't doing this next year, what you gonna say? Or you think he gonna be like this next year?
Say who is that?
Deron Bland. Is
See,
he getting lucky from being on the other side of Stephon Gilmore, or is he really like that? Dang, he just gave him.
So I feel like with Deron Bland, see this level of play scares me because it's like, yeah, he's having a great year. He's having a great season.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he set the record with most pick sixes in one season. Um, but obviously, you know, that's hard to do. Like when Trayvon Diggs had all the interceptions,
Hmm.
it was like, all right, well, we see this going forward. I already knew we weren't going to see it duplicated because one, people want to stop throwing the ball to his side of the field. He still had a couple anyway, but not at the rate that he had them, you know, in the previous year. So a lot of it's dictated by, you know, the other team and what they're willing to do to you or try you. Um, if Deron Bland keeps getting his hands on, you know, these footballs like this, then sooner or later they're going to stop throwing to him. But obviously, I think he still has to play. You know, he still has to take that side of the field away, even if he's not getting the picks and or getting the attention, as I should say. Um, the ball's not getting thrown his way. I know sometimes you know cornerbacks can get a little bored, they can get a little you know relaxed, and then that's when they get got.
Hmm.
Um,
Double
so
move.
so yeah, I'm afraid for that. You know, he'll get too lax or something, and they you know they'll try him when you know he's got his guard down. Um, but the good thing about Deron Bland is that you know we've seen, or I've seen flashes of him and how good he can be when Trayvon Diggs was healthy because you know he was coming in and playing some too. Um, and you know in the little bit of time and the snaps that he did play, you know he was good. You know he wasn't out there getting burnt and like, you know, I don't remember him or his name being called for the wrong reasons. So you know he was productive in the time that he was out there on the field, and he always seemed to be on the end, on the right end of every play, rather than the wrong end or the you know the bad side of it. And now that he's in a starting role, you know, I was a little worried because like, okay, well now he's gonna be playing majority of the snaps now. He's not coming in playing snaps here, playing snaps there, or just filling in when somebody's hurt or like, you know, not playing or whatever. Um, he's coming in and he's gonna be in a full time role. And, you know, like I said, I once I had doubts, but it was like, okay, I hope that the little bit that he did and the little bit of time that he got translated into a big way because obviously we're gonna need it. Like Trayvon Diggs, that's a lot of you know, that's big shoes to fill right there. You know, we had Stephon Gilmore on the other side, and you know, him and Diggs were supposed to be the ones, like arguably the best cornerback duo in the league, and then Diggs gets hurt. But yet, Bland comes in, steps in, and he even made plays this year that, you know, not interceptions or pick sixes or whatever, but like, you know, pass breakups and like, you know, staying with this primary receiver. Like, I mean, he's looked really good. Um, the only thing I can hope for as a Cowboys fan is that I hope it carries over into next year and that he's able to, I don't want to say duplicate what he's done now because obviously, like I said, five pick sixes in one season is hard to do. But I would love to see him, you know, take one side of the field completely away from the opposing quarterback, you know, on a consistent basis. Like, I'm good with him getting like two or three targets a game or the
Right.
quarterback targeting whoever he's guarding two or three times a game, you know, and they're not getting a whole lot. Like that would be success for me. Like he ain't got to be picking the ball off every single time or getting his hands and breaking up a pass. Like I just need him to cover a receiver and make sure that he don't get open. And if he does get open, you know, you're able to recover and force the quarterback into a dangerous throw. You're able to make a play on the ball like he's been doing. Um, but yeah, I like him a lot. I love his game. I love his grit. always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and just I think we got a problem with cornerback. It's a good problem because Diggs gonna be back. We still got Stephon Gilmore for another year after this season because he signed him to a 2 year deal. Um,
Is it 2 years actual, or is it like 1 year, an avoidable year?
that I'm not sure about, but we signed him. Um, it was 2 year deal. We got Diggs. Obviously, he got his money. He got paid already before he got hurt. They didn't pay him after he tore his ACL,
Right.
but he got his money beforehand. Um, and now you got Deron Bland back there, who showing that he's just as good as Diggs or as a Gilmore. This season. Um, I think it'll be interesting next year when Diggs comes back because we already mentioned how Michael Gallup looked off the ACL. How he doesn't look like himself.
They said take a year.
Yeah, it does take a year. Um, now Gallup has had moments, but again, he hasn't looked like himself um, pre-injury. So you got another guy coming in, coming back, and Trayvon Diggs next season that has, another big contract. Guy just got paid as well, and seeing how he does with Deron Bland in the lineup or mixing the matching them back into the lineup, and you know it's a good problem for the Cowboys to have. You got three cornerbacks who can absolutely go out there and run with the best receivers in the NFL and shut things down. They have that capability, and you need that in today's league. Especially if you don't have a a big pass rush every play. You got
You
to be
think
able to
y'all
cover
running with
downfield.
Miami?
In what terms?
Uh, Wide receivers versus cornerbacks.
Yeah, I felt like they were kind of comparing us to at least the cornerback duos. We talking about Javian Howard and Jalen Ramsey when he came back from injury. You had Diggs and Gilmore. I feel like it was one more defensive duo.
JC and Dante Jackson.
No,
It was Darius Slay and James Bradbury.
maybe them. I don't. I don't think it was them two.
Now I was talking about
Eagles.
receiver wise though. I'm talking about
The
Jalen
Eagles.
Hill.
Eagles
Jalen,
secondary ain't like that, honestly.
you think Stephon Gilmore goes stride for stride with Tyreek?
Nah, nah. Stephon Gilmore's definitely lost a step. He's still a smart, like savvy,
Yeah,
veteran,
he got
veteran
great
guy.
technique.
And he had some good plays against Washington in the game on Thanksgiving. I watched him defend some of those plays, man. And, he really, know, he can still run with the guy and make plays on the ball. Um, I think,
We had him for a year and he made some plays for us. It was pretty good.
yeah. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Just, you know, he's gonna make plays. They're gonna keep. So if Deron Bland keeps making plays, he'll be a Cowboy. They'll pay him, and like I said, hopefully his production, continues and is consistent throughout his tenure in Dallas. So it's going to be fun next season. See which two cornerbacks are going to start off. Deron Bland having a career year. Trayvon Diggs, just getting paid all that money. And I've Stephon Gilmore, being the oldest of the three cornerbacks. Um, where he lands, how he's used. If he gets bumped down, what if it's Diggs and Bland in the back? That would be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a good problem for Dallas to have. Yeah, all this talent trying to figure out, who to play and how to play him. Um,
Josh Dobbs just threw a horrible pick, 4 turnovers tonight.
oh
Two
man,
back to
didn't see
back
that
pick.
coming. Yeah, that's tough.
He threw it to a lineman. The lineman bobbled it and it landed in the DB.
Oh, of course they did.
You said what? What'd you say, Trigger?
No, I just co-signing what you just said about the turnovers and the Vikings had.
Yeah. Kevin McConnell. O'Connell. Just take the sack, buddy. That's one thing though. Bryce is learning how to take a sack. He got 40 of them.
Huh. One way to shorten your career right there. I mean, granted, I know he's not setting out to break a sack record, but you know, people gonna be rushing him like that.
Hey, Trigger,
Use your
when we coming
legs.
back? When the next time we coming back on here? Because I'm about to give you a topic I want you to think about.
Um, let's see. I work tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, Tuesday?
Yep. Did they just fumble the ball right back to him? Oh, I'm about to say.
I work
Almost.
Tuesday. Um, I would say Thursday, but that's Dallas, Seattle.
We coming live for Dallas, Seattle? We live?
I'm tell you right now, I ain't gonna be worth a damn thing on this podcast if that game's on.
We live? We live watch party? Can you get in before the game?
Um, Possibly.
We'll figure it out.
I mean, we could do a live. Like I said, I might not be much on this podcast. So I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be into it.
We
Ready
can
to
come in. We
spend
can
the
get in there.
season.
We can get us some knock some out quick. But I want you to think: is Joe Burrow injury prone?
Hmm. Starting to seem like it, isn't it? Yeah, the ACL, then the calf, and now with his hand.
The ligament?
Yeah, season
I
ending.
mean, didn't he just get a contract? Did he get his contract this offseason?
Was that?
Did he get his contract this offseason?
Yeah, like he got paid too.
That's what they were saying about Lamar though. They were saying, "Oh, Lamar, oh, he gets you here, but he's gonna leave you here." But they ain't saying that about Joe Burrow. We won't talk about Josh Allen before Stephon Diggs, but Bryce Young a bust. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, Justin Fields just fumbled the ball. Minnesota got the ball back. Justin Fields just fumbled. Oh, this game's crazy. That's some bullshit, man. That's like he just said. And they were inside the 25-yard line.
Hmm.
Yeah, he let it go. Yep. Fumble. What do you think about Joe Flacco probably getting the start next week?
Huh. That's been comical at this point. With the Jets,
Huh? No, Browns.
the Browns, right? That
Joe
was,
Flacco could come in there and do that.
almost forgot which team it was for a second, but yeah. It's amazing, the Browns are like barely had Deshaun Watson this season, and they're in a position to potentially make the playoffs.
It's that defense.
Play with their second and third string quarterback.
It's that defense. But
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Yeah.
Miles Garrett got hurt though. His shoulder popped.
Mm. He don't need it.
Yeah, his shoulder popped.
He don't need it to tackle anybody.
He came back in and played, I think, but he looked hurt uh, after the game.
Hmm.
So, well, Trigger, Thursday we're gonna shoot for it. We're gonna try. We're gonna try for Thursday. Thank y'all for
Try.
tuning in. We gonna see. We're gonna put something out. We lit it the night show. Who lit it the night show? Ain't nobody lit it the night show. Unless you're talking about Ava screaming and yelling. Ava lit because she gotta go to bed. But that's other than that, no.
She's still up right now.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. I tell you what, it's nice when my kids get down by 7:30, 8 o'clock, man. It's every night.
The older
Every
kids
single
are.
night.
But Ava, she go to bed when she want to, but she wake up when we get up at 6.
Oh my gosh, you go to bed late, still wake up early?
Yeah. We
Mine's
take
get to
naps.
bed.
We take midday naps, baby.
We do too. Well, me and Tatiana do. Tyson doesn't, he don't really nap no more. But I mean, he's in school during the day now anyway. At least during the
Yeah.
weekday. But yeah, I look forward to that, man. Like I ain't gonna be able to do it tomorrow because I gotta go to work. But when I get home Wednesday, I just believe, man, that's what I look forward to is the midday naps with
Yeah.
my youngest. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, love it.
Girl dads.
And they make midday nap, like 1 to 4, and then get up, eat, play a little
That's
bit.
y'all godly. Y'all got
You
logged
go
that.
back. You go back down at 7:30, like 3 hours later. So and she stays down for the whole night. She's up probably 6, 7 the next morning. So about 11, 12 hours. Both my kids, man, they in there and they out. And
The older kids are like sleep that late. Ava, no. She the princess. She get what she want.
yeah, I heard that.
She the princess.
Yeah, I heard
You.
that.
But yeah, man, we used to sleep from like you said, 1 o'clock every day, like clockwork. We
Hmm.
watch our morning stuff. I'll do a little stocks. She watch her Gracie's Corner or something. And then
Hmm.
12:30, 1 o'clock, we get ready to go to bed. All right. Thank y'all for tuning into us. Another one.
Yeah,
I'm B Wise.
and I'm Trigga.
And this has been Strictly Sports. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace.
And we are done.